Welcome back, everybody. There is a way to conduct these interviews and something that I've been using in what I call the flow. As you start out a little easier, you kind of make the guest feel more comfortable and relaxed, and then you start getting into heavier and heavier topics. But with our guest that's today, a wonderful actor, I really want to dive into kind of the meat right away. I'm feeling hungry. So let's try it this way and see what you think in terms of this approach. But I just really don't want anybody to miss this, because for me, as I was doing research on our next guest, who is an amazing award-winning actor, Gabe Fazio, by the way, is it struck me as so important and so real as to what our industry is about. I need to kick off with that. So welcome to the program, Gabe, and I really, really, really look forward to talking to you.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Listen, I feel like I feel like I know you a little bit because of your friend, Austin Basis, who was with you at Actors Studio, who was on the show just recently. Yeah,
Who's
Austin
there?
Basis. Yeah, you may have heard of him. I don't know.
Ah, oh my God. I love Austin. I love you, Austin.
Yeah, Austin's great. I really,
Too.
Austin and I couldn't shut up, and we talked for about 3 hours, and we could have talked for another 2 hours after that. So
Yeah,
it was great.
yeah. And I gotta talk your ear off.
I look forward to it. I have enough questions for us to have a little bit of a runway.
No,
So,
no, no. He'll talk your ear off. Austin.
Austin, that is true. I enjoyed it, but yes, I see that about it.
Yeah, I don't really talk very much. I'm kind of monosyllabic. I'm very, like, laconic. And I'm just gonna get right to the point.
Well, let's do that, and I guess that's our cue to get to it. So here's what I wanted to really start off with, because again, in doing my prep, I talked to Austin. I wanted to find out a little bit about you. I do my research on your IMDb Pro. I kind of look at the stuff that's written, the projects that you've been in, and I look to find interviews that you've done. So one of the last interviews that you've done was with Benel, who is it was a really good interview, by the way. So good job, Benel, if you're watching this. And one of the last questions that he asked you is something that I really wanted to kind of piggyback off and start my show with, which the question was, if you what advice would you give to a young actor out there? And your answer was, don't do it. And then you expanded on the answer of saying, well, don't do it unless you're going to say yes to the following questions. And those questions were, are you prepared to be alone? Are you prepared to be single and not have any children? Are you prepared to be poor? Are you prepared to be hungry and performing on the streets? Are you prepared to be a bartender? And you kept on kind of listing these questions. And I said, yeah, that's it. That's what the actors out there need to hear, because a lot of people out there are watching everybody on the big screen, and they're watching, the lifestyles of the rich and famous. They're watching all of this stuff, and that's not what our business is about. You have a tiny, tiny percentage of people who have that, and everybody else, all of the other working actors that I know, whether they're well known or people who are struggling out there, nobody has that lifestyle. And I love that you actually said it. And I want to start with that, and I want to talk to you about it, because you asked yourself these questions and you said yes to all of them.
I
Is
really
that
did
the reality of our business?
ask myself those questions.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is that the reality of our business?
yeah, totally. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you don't come from the fortune of having a wealthy family, and on top of that, a wealthy family that's going to help you and assist you, you know, you're unless you're some kind of entrepreneur that can like whip up some kind of scheme to make quick money fast with a little bit of time and effort, then which is practically non-existent.
Mhm.
Those kinds of people. I'm not saying they don't exist; they probably do, and I would believe they do, but not really. So yeah, I think it, especially when you have to live in New York City and you have to live in the cities where the opportunity is. I mean, now the opportunity is much more vast. It covers more states, like Atlanta now, and Chicago and other parts of the country, but the main base is really LA and New York City. And I haven't lived out in LA long enough to know, but I'm pretty sure it's on par with New York City. New York City is, and I mean all the boroughs, specifically New York, Manhattan, and some parts of Brooklyn, and even some parts of Queens. If you're not, you have to pay thousands of dollars per month for rent.
Mhm.
So, you gotta like find the skill becomes how do I survive while creating the time to put into developing the craft if you care about that. For me, when I was younger, I was pretty, but I wasn't as pretty as the pretty boys. I didn't have the full Brad Pitt lips and the light Paul Newman eyes. I had everything else, but I didn't have that. And so I couldn't compete with the prettiness. So I was kind of, I cared about developing my craft anyway, but I wanted to, it just became like my destiny to like, not be sidetracked by actually getting work, but being able to fall on my face behind closed doors. And I had the opportunity to do that and the fortune to audition and get into the actor studio. So the actor studio, not the MFA program, although I did go to the MFA program, but I'm really specifically talking about the actor studio in New York City, where I got to work on things that I wanted to work on to stretch myself as an actor in front of legends like Arthur Penn, and even Arthur Storch, who I just mentioned, Estelle Parsons, and Ellen Burstyn, and Harvey Keitel, and all these brilliant minds that are giving you their feedback on like your work. And sometimes it's crushing, sometimes it's not, but not only did it develop, it started to enrich my tone and be able to know myself, my instrument a little bit better. So that was all the craft. So in the fact that I wasn't working and I was waiting tables and bartending and I not only did I get the taste for the struggle, but because I had like I went on food stamps once, and I realized I didn't need to, so I got off it. But it was an experience. Not having mental health insurance for years, and I was not the safest guy in many ways. So the fact that I wasn't badly hurt other than dislocating my collarbone, but I had the fortune of also not like hurting myself. But I didn't have all those things, so all I had was quite bluntly, I just had the passion to do it. And so because I wasn't working, I was developing the layers of my skin and also keeping my insides soft and malleable to, have access to depending on the roles, and then building confidence by demystifying working for people who are like giants in our business. They're titans. They're like, gods in a sense. You demystify that and you see that they're people, but their insight and their wisdom is, unprecedented and endlessly deep. So it's so by the time I'm not as pretty as I used to be, but neither are those guys. And the one difference is that I'm not trying to put myself on a pedestal or anything like that, but the work paid off where I feel like now I have the confidence and the level of relaxation and the craft to mix it up with these really well-known and talented and gifted people who have great technique, and I'm learning from them, but I'm able to hang with them. So there is a reward for the risk, which is risking being poor for the rest of your life and not having any bank account or health insurance. But the reward is, in itself, the reward is the fact that you're working, and there lies the glory. It's like, wow, you have a job. I don't have anything to complain about.
How long did it take you to get to a point where you felt like you could mix it up with these guys?
Like this year. Only because I haven't worked in a year almost. You
That's
know, I know this much is true. I worked on for like 9 months and
yeah,
straight, you know, and I had no job, which was fine. I needed a break. But then COVID-19 happens, and you know, what are you going to do with all this, you know, creative energy? You know, I took up the guitar, you know, and trying to find other, like, living life. So it's kind of a gift in an odd way. It's to have to live life and to experience life. So the next time I work again, I'll have that much more to offer. So retrospect is like also a part of it. Um, the sacrifice, and like, you know, to answer your question, like, I feel like when you're in the work, you know, sometimes you catch yourself in the moment, like, wow, it's amazing. I'm like, I'm where it's at right now. Like, I'm loving where I'm at. Like, I'm actually working and enjoying what I'm doing. I feel like I know what I'm doing and I'm where I want to be, you know. But you're more focused on the work at hand. But afterwards, having retrospect, I'm like, I'm not worrying about money in the moment. I mean, I look at the big picture. Of course, I need to continue the work. For right now, like, for the first time in my life, I didn't do for the money. Obviously, if I wanted to make money, I wouldn't be an actor, you know.
yeah.
But making money, acting, having struggled for all those years, there's the glory, you know. Right there is like a sense of accomplishment.
Yeah, and that's you've mentioned the a show with Mark Ruffalo in which you were very deeply involved called I Know This Much Is True, for which Mark got an Emmy nomination. And that's again when I was looking at you and when I was doing my prep, that I think was, you know, if I needed to understand what kind of person that you are, that was it, because you did a project knowing full well that you're not going to be seen. You know, you're in this amazing production with Mark Ruffalo, who's an amazing actor, and you're not going to be seen. And you did it anyway. You did it because you love the craft, and it's about the work. It's not about the fame, it's about the craft. So that told me everything I needed to know.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I mean, I know many actors who would have loved to do what I did. You know, it's not like people wouldn't do it. It just, so, you know, I mean, you know that as an actor, of course, you're gonna like get the chance to work with, like, you know, Mark Ruffalo and my friend Derek seeing France again, and like to work on this story. Yeah, I'm a theater actor, you know, and if there was ever a merging of theater and film, which it was literally
Yeah.
35 minutes film, there it is. Because, and I mentioned film only because the aspect that help, like, you know, that lends itself to being a theater actor is when you're shooting on the film, there's a sense of urgency that, you know, is palpable. Like, everyone knows that you got to come with your A game from the first take, even though you didn't rehearse it. So you're shooting your rehearsal, which is your performance, which is like, you know, that's very theatrical. You know, it's to have the urgency to not make a mistake is, well, allow a mistake to happen and not break character. That's theater, you know, because it's film. It's not like HD. You're shooting a student film, you can shoot it 50,000 times. And not that Derek didn't take his time with having many takes, because anybody who worked with him will tell you that, like, you know, he allows himself to work until he gets it. So,
Good.
but the urgency is still there. And the other aspect is, you know, when you do a theater show in a black box theater and you have 45, 50 people in attendance, those are the ones that witnessed it. You know, when I was on set, it was a black box theater experience. I'm working with the actors, no different from working with actors in a regular way. And then you have the cast and the rest of the cast, the crew, the producers all watching, and they're the audience and they witnessed it. So it's the same thing, you know. I mean, I really honestly can tell you it didn't it I mean, I understand that people are like, man, you did it even though you knew you weren't going to be seen. I'm like, yeah, like, so what? I know it's strange, but like I really didn't feel that way. I really felt that way. I didn't really care one way or another. I had a role where you saw me, that's fine. But it was more about the experience, and that was an experience unlike any other experience I've had on, definitely on film, and you know, far and few between in on stage as well. So it was worth it.
Yeah. Again, I kind of, yeah, everything is reversed. The love of acting, right? And that's the reason. That's the reason why I started the show. That's the reason why, you know, at times my marketing brain turns on and I start worried about views and I start worried about marketing and other things. And then I let it go because that's not why I'm doing this. I
Yeah,
don't care if it's 10,000 people that watch this or three, because the point is for those who watch to get inspired and to gain something from this experience and to become better actors and better people because of watching it. That's
yeah.
why it is. It's nothing about everything else. So I completely get it, and that's good for you. Again, it's I heard things about you, and then I saw that, and I said, "Yep, I get it."
But you know what I mean? Like, it's you're an actor, so you understand when
Mhm.
you ever feel like, especially during these times, you feel like you're not giving, giving to the community. Like there's a revolution happening at the moment, like our modern version of a revolution, however
Yeah.
you want to call it. It's what it is.
Mhm.
But, you know, um, sometimes I feel like, what am I doing? It's like I'm such a waste. And then I forget. I'm like, oh, I'm an actor. And I feel like you don't I mean, there are actors who are activists, and that's like,
Yeah.
combination. But, you know, if you're just gonna act and you have something to say, you are participating in culture, and culture is, in my opinion, a huge influencer of society. Obviously, culture is, society is like built into the fibers of culture. But like our culture is so, United States culture is so, there's so many little pockets of cultures. Like New York City's culture is so different from Georgia's. You
Yeah.
know, it's so different. But our little nest here in New York City, where we create movies and TV shows, they reach everyone. And if you're doing a show of quality, like I know this much is true, it's gonna come out of people's TV sets, and it could, like you just said, it's gonna, have give people insight in their own lives, and it could actually help change the way they see things. It could spark something, it could trigger something, it could, I mean, yeah. Anyway, so I just
It
wanted to.
it absolutely does. Again, I have kids, and
You do? How many?
knowing myself and knowing when I was growing up, I was watching TV, and I can tell my kids not to watch TV because I myself have learned so much from observing other people that I can't remove that experience from them. And acting to me is just a continuation of that. It's the finding yourself and learning about yourself through being the other character, through living for that instance or for those few days and those scenes through somebody else's eyes. It's An actor is a reflection of society onto itself. So absolutely, just because you're not working doesn't mean that it's not valuable, or what you were doing is not going to be valuable as soon as you start shooting. It's a gift. It's a part of the fabric of society. And without actors, without art, without our ability to express ourselves or to see others express us, we would be a much poorer society for it.
Yeah, like spiritually poorer. you
Mhm.
know it's like
Absolutely.
a spiritual poverty. that is, beating in through the veins of our country, and the world too.
Mhm.
I'm not. I don't think acting can it's in itself heal, but it can definitely influence and give you a different perspective. Like, oh, I never thought of it that way, and like that like affects you, and you're like I think Sam Shepard said it. The play should start when the curtains come down. So it's sort of like he said something like that. I'm sure I'm paraphrasing, but and you should be thinking about it after it's over. That's when you saw something that affected you, and it does. It's in your even if you don't think about it, if anymore, it still is in you, and it can actually influence decisions you make based on what moved you or what disturbed you or what haunts you.
Mhm.
It it can for
And
sure.
it should, absolutely does. You're a theater actor as well, so this will resonate. But when I saw Pippin the first time,
Hmm.
I that hit so deep to me because I, from as long as I could remember when I was a kid, for whatever reason, people had great expectations of me, and they thought that I would do something great.
Hmm.
And it became a driving force for me. I'm here to do something great. And when you're not doing something great, or at least in your own eyes, and when you're not achieving whatever that goal you're setting out to have, it becomes a very frustrating factor. And searching for that greatness and the inability to achieve it is a very difficult thing. So when I saw Pippin, that play started once the curtains came down. It was days of me mulling over it and thinking, is this what I want my life to be like? Is that what I'm about? Should I continue this constant pursuit of whatever the greatness is, or should I just try to find myself and be myself and enjoy life? So absolutely, it was a healing experience. It was a very spiritual experience, and it was a existential experience for me just watching that show.
How old were you when you saw it?
Not, I was, again, I'm 45 right now. I probably saw Pippin with my kids. I live in Chicago, so we saw it in downtown, probably 3 or 4 years ago. So it was not that long ago.
Wow. So
Yeah.
that's great. That's I love hearing those stories. You know, yeah, I like learn something from watching the stupid movie too. It's like, oh God, that was so much fun, that movie. I didn't get anything out of it, but you know what it did? It cheered me up.
Yeah.
Like you need those movies. Like people get down on uh, snobby people who look down upon fun films. I understand why they do, and I do too sometimes. Like, oh, why do they do that? All this money gets thrown into a big budget movie, and it's just the holes in it, the logical holes that thwart my OCD to
Yep.
like I can't enjoy it anymore. But that actually I've embraced, and so now when I see the holes, I like enjoy it because I want to see if they do the opposite, and or if there's another hole. But I'm enjoying it. And what it does is ultimately for me, I was able to learn how to enjoy those movies because those summer blockbuster movies, if you want to call them, or the holiday movies or whatever, that
Yep.
aren't that great and they're a bit cheesy, I've learned to really appreciate them and actually enjoy them, and you escape life,
Right.
want to
I
escape sometimes too. It's good stuff.
absolutely. My friends keep asking me, and they stopped asking me after a number of years. They stopped asking me, did you like this movie? Did you like this movie? Did you like this movie? Because the answer is yes, I did. Because in every movie, I find something that I like, I find what I enjoy, and I'm not worried about the rest.
That's
So
good.
there are only a
Required.
couple of movies that I hated. Everything else I love.
Yeah, no, it's not everybody can do that. I've come a long way to do that. I think that's a really, if you love cinema like I do, don't you want to love it all and in different ways?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's good.
I was watching with, we introduced my kids. My daughter is going to be 16 in a few days. My
Yeah.
son is about to turn 11 shortly. So my
Oh,
wife and I introduced them to, again, using this time when we're all together, we introduced them to a bunch of films, including Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. And I'm watching that movie, which I adore, and I've seen at least 15 times.
the one
Uh,
with Martin, right?
huh?
The one with Steve Martin.
Yeah, Steve
Yeah.
Martin, Michael Caine, and we're watching it, and there is a part in a movie that for the first time, and again, this is probably the first time that I'm watching it since I became really serious about acting and I'm pursuing my acting career. And then I see a line, I see a point in the movie that is a kind of a plot hole and does not ring true because, that character wouldn't do this in a particular moment. I'm like, I stopped myself. I thought, wait a second, he would never do. Okay, never mind. I'm going to beg to enjoy the movie. So I'm starting to kind of click and notice those moments.
Yeah, I definitely understand that. It's like,
Yeah,
but isn't that an enjoyable moment?
it is.
That look, I was able to pick out a mistake that a huge, big budget movie made that they didn't see. You feel special because you think you're the only one that sees it. You're like, no way, you wouldn't do that. And then you tell your friend, did you like that movie? I liked it too, but what about that one part where Steve Martin or Michael Caine did this or that? And they're like, how did you notice that? I'm like, yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Or maybe they'll argue with you and they're like, no, it totally makes sense. And you're like, why? And then you're in this deep discussion about character, and it's kind of cool. It's like you're talking shop suddenly about a about a dumb mistake in a movie that's supposed to be fun.
Yeah, and again, Wire would be another example. I would watch The Wire. I'm not going to say who the actor is, but I'm watching The Wire, and you have this scene with just really, really talented actors, and one of the actors stands out because they're not as good. And I'm clocking all of this, and it becomes distracting to me because I'm thinking there's two lines of thought that are at that moment, actually three, right? One is I'm trying to enjoy the story. The second is thinking, okay, this actor is not as good as the other ones. And third is putting myself in that situation and thinking, oh my God, is that what I'm going to be like if I'm around actors who are much better than I think I am? Is that how much I'm going to stand out? And you have that thinking, all of it going on in my brain where I had to pause and I had to work everything through before I started watching it again because I couldn't, focus on the actual storyline anymore.
You had an anxiety attack.
In a way, because it's that realization of saying, holy shit, this is an HBO series. This is a person who is on there for many episodes. It's one of the regulars. That person went through a rigorous process. Got in a big production, even though that show wasn't popular until season 3 or 4. But they got through. That person is an actor who is working in the industry, who has, I have 5 IMDb credits. They have a lot more, and I don't think they're good enough. Does that mean that I don't know what I'm talking about? Does that mean that maybe they're not good enough? What does it mean? So it kind of blew my mind. So yeah, I don't know if it was anxiety. It was more of a realization of what is happening in the business.
Yeah, no. I mean, those are like the little devil on your shoulder telling you what you can't do all the time. It's
Yeah.
like that's gonna be you. It's like, shut up. No, it's not, is it? And then, but you know what? That can make you work harder. That fear, that the fear of not doing a good job drives you to work much harder. It's even harder than what you really need. Sometimes you can drive yourself crazy. Um, but yeah, that's
Um, let's go back to again the I know this much is true. Based on again my research and what I heard is that you stayed once you get on set, you were pretty much in character. You weren't kind of snapping in and out of it because again, from what I understand, you found it to be easier to kind of stay in character. Is that what you find with a lot of your projects, that you kind of get to a character, you stay in it, and then you come home, you take it off. Otherwise, you're in it.
it depends.
Hmm.
It depends. I mean, Thomas was in his own world. There's this different zone of concentration that, you're using, while I was using the tangible world as I see it, but I was looking for things that I was trying to, I'll look at, the way I worked on it is that I'll be sitting around and I'll look at a pencil and I would and I would look into the pencil and like, where does the pencil come from? That pencil comes from, and I would go on this whole rabbit hole about a pencil until I was able to find a level of a logical reason to be paranoid about a pencil. So that's the way I was looking at things, and that's just an example. So I was doing so much that by the time I got to set, I just felt it was easier to just stay that way. And here's the thing, in a non-intrusive way. I'm not gonna like walk up to people and start talking to them like this weirdo dude. I was more of it. I was the introverted about it, so it wouldn't be so intrusive on anybody else's process. I'm not going to demand something that I need this, I need that. I just will I say yes to everything just because it's easier. It's so much easier to say yes to things. It's hard to say. When you say no, it becomes about you step out of it, and it's more what me, the actor, wants and needs you to change for me to do my work. And I want to do the opposite. I want to take whatever it is you're giving me and make it into gold, like an alchemist, turn everything into gold. And that's what and Thomas's character just had that demand where it was just easier. I mean, one day Melissa Leo was the same way. Like Melissa Leo, I know from the actor studio, when we worked together on the first day, we not only were we talking to each other in character and our relationship, the mother and son, but we went to lunch in in the van talking in character still, right up until the line where we were getting food. And then I found a way to I wanted to make an exit and go be by myself. So as Thomas, I made an exit. And it's he for me, he wasn't so out there where you couldn't communicate. It comes in waves. Like there's just, you shouldn't notice it right away. It's something that is, for me, the way, like, the way I was working on it was a subtlety. And then he has like his binge moments where he'll go on a tangent, and then you're like, this guy is fucking whack. So it was easier for me to stay in it in that way, where if somebody would say something to me, I would talk to them and it seems normal, but there's something off. So it wasn't an intrusive thing. So I don't want people to think, oh, because, lots of people get bad reputations for being on set, and they make all these demands. You have to call them this and that. Like, I'm not Daniel Day. I respect that. That's just not what I do. So I just wanted to show the difference that, like, it's, just because I'm in character while I'm on set, it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm gonna make you do this or make you do that. That's all.
No, that makes. Yeah. How easy did you find, again, once you're offset, how easy did you find that it is to let go of the character, or did you stay kind of connected, throughout the shoot?
Well, because I for that particular character,
Yeah.
well, I had to lose weight, so I didn't have time to mourn the character. It's like I had to literally jump in. So I made it the same person, because I am the same person. I'm just losing weight, and now I am in a different mindset. Now I'm the older brother, and my main focus is taking care of that guy. So it was just a shift in who I was, and some things were not applicable that were for Thomas, and there were things that were not applicable for Thomas that is now completely, actable for Dominic, and you know, so I didn't really have a problem saying goodbye, although there was some things that with Thomas that stuck around, and then Dominic. But Dominic, I was fucking angry all the time too. Like, you know, Mark talked about that. My anger came after, like, I shot. It was still there. I was still like pissy and annoyed at things and like impatient. For me, my level of impatience was just through the charts. Like I couldn't even, if I dropped I would get mad at objects. I would get so angry at objects if something didn't work right. If I was tired and pouring my coffee and I missed the glass, I would fling the glass across the room or the cup, and I'd be like, "Fuck!" And it was something so small and so stupid, but I still have a little bit of that even today. But it really amplified during when I was playing that character. But for Thomas, it was for me like I was afraid of hearing voices, like, you know, because I have tinnitus, and I really focused on, because I'm hearing impaired, so I am deaf in my left ear, and my right ear we're hearing aid. And but when I take it out at night, anybody that has tinnitus, some people call it tinnitus, but I call it tinnitus. And the tinnitus would be so loud when it's very quiet. And I would, as I was working on Thomas, I'm like, I hear these ringing in my ear as if it's really ringing in my ear. You know, like it feels like. Then I said, I imagine, what would it be like if my ringing just became a voice, this unhinged voice, and the voice was evil. And I would think about it so much that it started to scare the shit out of me. And a funny incident happened when I was walking my dog before shooting, and I heard this sound that mimicked a very low, staccato, angry, growling voice in my ear, and I thought it said, "Die." And I was like, what the? And it scared the living shit out of me. I really thought in that moment I broken a threshold, and like I'm hearing voices now. And for like about 2 seconds, I had this blood literally drained out of my head. I started to shake. My mouth started getting dry, and I saw this motorcycle drive by, and it made that sound. So I was able to associate the sound with what it was.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, that was the gift. And in that moment, I thought, holy Jesus. For the first time, Thomas, or anyone who has schizophrenia, anybody that's afflicted with that disease, in that moment, when they first hear the voice, that's what they went through. And I might get goosebumps thinking about it now. And that never left. So that fear of potentially hearing something, for instance, something that's happening to you that's out of your control, like if your body just started doing things without you controlling it, kind of feeling, that anxiety, this paranoia, these symptoms that Thomas had, that are actable, and you can find things that can trigger it in any moment. You can shock yourself with a trigger and just take it for a ride and see what happens. Yeah. And that's what was filming was like. But yeah, to answer I told you I was direct and just to the point. I lied. So this is a long story of answering your question.
It's really important, and this is the shit that scares me as an actor, because me as a person, and people can think I have schizophrenia if they want, but I think of it as more of a spiritual connection. And anybody who's watched the show knows that I talk about spirituality. I talk about mediumship, intuition, all of the kind of psychic phenomena, if you will. Because when I was a kid, I heard voices, and it freaked me out. It freaked me out. Seeing Sixth Sense reminded me of some of that stuff. It wasn't anything to that extent, but I heard voices. And kids are a lot more connected. They're a lot more open. Whether you believe in this stuff or not is up to you. But I heard voices, and I know that I'm being, as a person, I'm very empathic. So I would feel one way, and I know that I'm a happy-go-lucky kind of a guy. I walk into a Walmart, and within a half an hour of just walking around Walmart, I get agitated, I get drained, I get upset because I'm a sponge. I pick up kind of all of the stuff, all of the emotions and the energies that are around me. And unless I protect myself before going into a public space, I pick all of this stuff up. And it took me a while to realize what was happening and how to clear it properly and how to kind of let all that stuff go. So there is a part that I think there is still kind of this instinctive protective mechanism that I don't want to dive into that type of a scenario, because I know that I heard voices before. I know that I have done mediumship, and I've given information that comes from the beyond. I don't know if I want to get in there because I know that I can allow it. I'm not sure I'll be able to get rid of it or get out of it or step back into this is my norm. So for me, when people go full method, and I know you talked about would love to work with Daniel Day-Lewis and others like him, who's just amazing,
Yeah.
but I don't know if I ever will allow myself to go full method, because I don't know if I'll be able to fully let it go or take out or deal with whatever energies find their way into my existence if I'm in that. So that freaks me out. And when you started talking about voices, that's where I went.
No, I totally. I mean, that's got to be the scariest fucking thing. I'm so sorry you had to deal with that as a kid. That's something that probably will stay with you for your rest of your life. And if you can tap into that, and not let it like overcome you, and just, but you can serve you in a certain role, and then that's like gold. If you know how to use it, it's like having a wild Mustang that could help you win wars. If you can ride it like a Comanche, then you're golden. You know, that's the way I look at it. We got to be like the Comanche Indians. They rode the horses the best. That's why they reigned for so long. So if we could look at our fears as like, these like super fast Mustangs, we just got to know how to ride them, So, but no, I totally get it. I found a recording on YouTube that was just a schizophrenic a person who has schizophrenia wanted people to know what he hears. So he recorded what he heard.
Wow.
And I could not bring myself to listen to it. I did not even try to listen to it because I've already had that experience. I like you. I'm like, I don't want to hear that, because if I hear that, I will never unhear it. So I let my friends listen. They wanted to hear it because I told them I found it, and I let two of my friends listen to it. And I'm like, "You sure?" And I gave it to them because the comments were of people who were afflicted with the disease, and they were like, "This is exactly. Thank you. Now people understand." And when I read those comments, I'm like, I'm not listening to this. No way. I didn't need to. I didn't need to listen to it. So sometimes you don't need it. Sometimes you don't need to like go full method. You don't need to sometimes. It's only there if you feel like it will serve you in a positive way, and not like turn you into a complete psychopath. Like if I'm playing a serial killer, I'm going to research, the victims. I'm going to research, the serial killers, and try to understand them and relate to them. But if I have to kill somebody, I'm going to I would imagine like I have killed someone before. It was just sort of like I was just sort of like leaving myself, and
Yeah.
it showed to be apathetic rather than it being uh, filled with rage. Maybe it is filled with rage. I mean, there's different kinds of killing, like serial killers, maybe they're like more, I mean, it's however you would play a serial killer is it's going to be your serial killer. It's not going to be a real serial killer. You're playing someone, and you find those things that that are real to you, and you do it. You don't have to go out and fucking kill someone or kill bugs. I've heard people that kill bugs, and I can't even kill a spider. I can't. I have a hard time. I felt guilty killing a roach. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding.
I understand.
Yeah, ask my girlfriend; she'll tell you.
Yeah.
I killed. She had me assassinate a cockroach once, and
yeah.
a water bug rather, and I felt really bad. Like, why did I kill it? Because it makes me feel uneasy. It's such a stupid reason to kill something. I'm sorry, it is. Maybe I'm a pacifist. I'm not trying to make you feel guilty if you kill water bugs like a fucking water bug. I mean, but like,
how about mosquitoes?
I can't do it anymore.
How about mosquitoes? Do you have that same thing with mosquitoes?
No, because mosquitoes are vampires. It's different. It's sort of like pedophile. Now, if I say this, I don't know what's going to happen to society 20 years from now. They might look back at this as some sort of bigotry, but because I believe that protecting children is our main job as adults, is to prepare a good life for our children so they can grow up and be good, kind people. And the more kind people you have, the better the world will be, right?
Yeah.
So if that's the case, I mean, a large part of what destroys the society is the exploitation of children and the abuse of children. So if you have a man who's afflicted with, keep using that word, afflicted, if a man who is, I would say that's the right word, someone who has pedophilia and they act out on it. To me, that's like there's a certain indifference to me. I no longer look at that person as a human being in a sense. I see that they're human, but the fact that they allow themselves to spoil and maim and destroy these children, to me, is like the worst, the most atrocious act you can possibly do. So it doesn't matter what the reason was.
Right.
The fact that you did it and you did it consciously, I look at that person and as Gabe, and I look at them and I say, that's like a mosquito to me. That's like a vampire, like a vampire can't help being a vampire. He's going to suck blood. He needs it. But you saw True Blood, right? Mm-hmm. They came up with a solution. They bottled blood.
Yep.
And they were able to drink it. And so they were able to like work with society. If you can come up with something that can help pedophiles like that, I think that would be a great thing, but I don't think that exists right now. So it's sort of like, to me, like a mosquito is something that only, causes havoc and, kids fucking swat them, suck my blood, It's like, I'm being attacked.
Yeah. It's true. I get it, and I'm the guy who I like going to Florida because of the theme parks, and I want to take my kids there. But I'm the guy who would never live in Florida because Florida has sharks, it has crocodiles, it has snakes, it has spiders, it has all of the things that I am afraid of, and I would never put myself in a situation where I am doing that. Like right. Me on the fear factor, that's never going to work. So I'm not that.
Rogan.
Yeah, where it's just
wasn't Joe Rogan the host of Fear Factor?
Yeah, I think. Yeah. But like it's not just eating bugs, but being around snakes. I'm like the Indiana Jones. Snakes? Why does it have to be snakes?
Oh, snakes are weird creatures, man. It's like, how do they move? It's like this thing, this muscle. It's like it's like a big tongue. That's I don't know. I agree. Snakes freak me out. Hairy spiders.
Right. Like all of that stuff is fascinating, but I don't want to be next to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
You live with those things, you know, like snakes aren't looking to bite and eat children, you know.
I get it. But, when I went to Sedona, it didn't stop me from, people were enjoying and looking at the pretty sights of Sedona. I was looking under every rock where I'm stepping to make sure that I don't step on something.
Totally. Me too. Exactly. Exactly. I'm
Yeah.
the same. I saw a rattlesnake
Ooh.
in in the oasis in Joshua Tree.
Okay.
You hear it. It's interesting how nature can make that sound raise the hair on the back of your neck.
Oh yeah.
Because when I heard that, I was like, ah, it's near us. And I saw it. It was like in this ravine. There was this like little stream that was just like 3 feet below us. And
Yeah.
there just passing by, man. This big ass long
Oh,
rat. And
yeah.
it was very freaky, man. So I'm agreeing. I'm in agreement. You ever see a scorpion?
Again, thankfully not in person.
Oh God, I was in Italy and I was sitting on a toilet bowl and I looked
Oh,
black like spot, like this object, and I look at it and it's just this scorpion. It's like this big. It's
uh,
black and it's got the hard shell, you know, it's kind of like got a little glossy, matte, like hardness shell to it, you know, like it's hard, you know, it's hard. And it's got that tail with a little like little little
scissors. Yeah. Then.
like lead to the end with the little stabber or whatever that thing's called, stinger. And it wasn't moving. I was just looking at it, not moving myself, and my hair on my arms are like sticking up. Like I'm thinking about it now, and it's doing it. And I'm just looking at it, and it moved. It didn't move this way or that way. It just went. It kind of like rotated in its position, facing me, and I'm like,
Okay.
ah. And I got up and I walked away. Didn't move. And I told the person who I was staying with at the time, I just saw a scorpion. They said, yeah, that person lived there. The scorpions come around. Don't worry, the big ones aren't poisonous. I'm like, good to know. And we looked in there, it was gone. The scorpion was no longer there.
And you were able to go to sleep and have a good night's sleep after that?
Oh, you have to go to sleep, you know? It's like you check under the bed, you look in the cracks of the hallway, you research what scorpions do, how to avoid scorpions, like the
Yeah.
type of scorpion it was, and they weren't poisonous. So it's just sort of like that, like what you get, that arachnophobia kind of
Yeah.
feeling. It's sort of like this fear of something that we don't know why we're afraid of it. It's just, and that's why we kill it, right?
Precisely.
Yeah,
Yeah. Because we're afraid for ourselves.
yeah. Isn't that
Absolutely.
sad?
It
It's like
is.
the scorpion wasn't going to sting me at all, and I would totally have killed it if I wasn't so freaking far away from it. If I was near it, I would have stomped it.
Yeah.
At the moment, I would have, just because, yeah, you know.
Same. Exactly the same feeling.
Hits you like right in the head. You're like, ah! It's like you don't know it spits at you. You're like, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. Okay. Getting back to acting and away from our fears for a second, but it's interesting that you mentioned that it's only this year where you felt like you were really up to playing and being at the level where you can be with those guys. But you and Bradley Cooper have spent a lot of time together. You went through school together. You've
yeah,
done plays together. So you worked with somebody who's at that level. At least he's now. I'm a big Alien fan. I'm not sure that he was at that level then. I thought he was very good. So I mean, is it because you kind of grew up in a way from the actor's perspective with Bradley, it was easier, and you just he's just a
clarify.
buddy doing the same thing, huh?
Like when I did my, I think the that barrier of Titan and surf barrier went away much earlier than that. Like just like I said, when I was working at the Actors Studio, I was having full-blown hour conversations with Estelle Parsons and Harvey Keitel and Ellen Burstyn for years about work, about the work, my work, like their work, and realizing that, we're all the same. We're human, we're no different from one another. And, of course, that's obvious, right? But when you're in it, it doesn't feel that way. But I have never really felt any kind of intimidation, because that's what it would feel like, any anxiety of having to work with anybody. So even when I had my very first job, which was the Pack of 9/11, where I got to work with Harvey Keitel, him playing my dad in the show. And so I was around some really great people, like, William Sadler, to name a few, Harvey Keitel, and I hung out with those guys afterwards. I hung out with Bill Sadler, staying in the same hotel. We would hang out and talk. Came to the Actors Studio once, and it's just there was when I said what I mean is, like, it was more of like a moment of awareness of where I've arrived, where I'm actually getting paid to work with these people, is what I meant. Like, the the demystification with the person, like, Estelle Parsons or Ellen Burstyn, came earlier on, which, to answer your question, it definitely allowed me to be much more relaxed, when I did have to work with them. I've been they've been sort of like my silent mentors for so long, and they're so great that, who else is there to be intimidated by, I mean, it just never occurred to me after that. It was just more about, like, doing my work and working with people the way I would if it's you and I working, or and someone else working. It's the same thing. And but what I meant was, it was more of like realizing where I've been struggling for so long, and here I am.
Yeah.
I felt that really hit for the first time watching the show with other people, like sitting there watching it and laughing. I'm like, I remember that. That was great. She was amazing. The show's great. It's like, I only realized it then. So that's what I meant when you asked me earlier on. But it's still a good question. Yeah, Bradley and I worked. We did this show called Doughboys. That was a play that we did together. It was at the Henry Street Settlement Theater. It was the Fringe Festival. I think it was the first Fringe Festival. I don't know, maybe. And that was a fun show. That was funny.
Yeah.
We used to we would do this little ritual before we would fight that we got from when we were both in Elizabeth Kemp, who was our teacher in grad school. And she was like, our like maternal figure. And she allowed us to create and really, like, stir up our imagination. So Bradley and I and this other guy, Luca Perucci, who was also in our class, we would do these fight scenes for like 20 minutes, and we would full on, like, pretend, like, if I threw a punch, he would go back, and if I catch him with this, like, we would just have this huge fights, and it was just saying yes to each other, like, oh, you got me, he beat the shit out of me this time. And we were just fully invest in it. We were sweating, and, like, we're really, like, in the zone. And so we brought that to the show, and we did it for the audience. I think everyone did it, or I don't know. I think it was just Bradley and I, but still, it was such a great experience to do that.
That's awesome.
Show.
You and Bradley in one of the plays is how Austin kind of decided to audition for the Actors Studio. He said that after watching you and Bradley in one of the plays, I think he actually came up to you guys and said, "Hey guys, great job. I'm planning to audition for the Actors Studio."
What play was it?
Which play? I have that written down. Hang on one second. We're not going to cut this, but I'm just
seeing together. where he was
Uh,
jumping on the window and I had to talk him down.
so it was the part of the first New York Fringe festival,
That's it.
and you were in which play I don't know.
Doughboys.
Austin, please comment. Please remind us which play that was.
No, I know what it is. You said the Henry Street Settlement Theater, the Fringe
Oh,
Fest.
yes.
That's Doughboy. That's the one I just talked about.
Okay, got it.
Yeah,
So
yeah, that's the one. I didn't know that. I didn't know that Austin saw that.
yeah, he
No
saw
idea. Maybe he told me and I was high or drunk or something, but
that. Well,
I didn't know that. That's so cool.
yeah, he mentioned that he was going to audition for the school. He also said that he remembers that you reminded him of Patrick Swayze, so that was his first impression of you.
Oh man, see, I told you I was cute when I was younger. Yeah.
Listen,
When I was younger, I looked more like him. Now I look more like David Hasselhoff with hair, but without the looks of the talent. That's how I look right now. Or that guy who was in the Hardcastle and McCormick. You ever watch that show? The guy with the
which
curly
one?
hair. Or Buddy Lembeck from William Ain from Charles in Charge. That's
Yeah.
like my hair. My hair out, upstages my face.
Yep. Well, you can slick it back. I've seen.
You know what? If that's what people remember me for is my hair, then that's fine. At least they remember me for something.
That's true. That's true.
What do people remember you for?
What do people remember me for?
Yeah.
It's a good question. I think if you ask people, what they remember me for, my friends will tell you that they remember me for changing my names a few times. Still not picking a profession because I keep on changing things. So I'm the change guy. The only thing that I have not changed, and it's a testament to my wife who hasn't divorced me yet, but that's the only constant. Everything else has changed.
You know what's funny, man, is you look like someone, and I figured it out. You look like my friend.
Okay.
Oh my God, I forgot his name for a second. Name Jerry. You remind me. You look like my friend Jerry. Jerry McDonald.
Jeremy, I'm gonna look up Jerry. Jerry
Yeah,
McDonald or McDonald?
it's like your bone structure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I like faces, so like I look at certain attributes, and if it reminds me of someone, I automatically start thinking about that person. So that's who you were making me think about.
Well, when I take my glasses off and I slick my hair back and I do a little bit of, yeah, then I kind of look like Andy Samberg's impression of Nick Cage.
And I can see that. I think you look more like Adam Driver with lighter hair,
Could be, yeah, maybe.
like a Irish version of Adam Driver.
Hey, listen,
But
I took
I don't even know. He might be. I don't know.
I have 1% Irish. I took the I took the test, the DNA test, and it's 97% Ashkenazi Jew from Eastern Europe. But
Owning your DNA now is that true?
I think it's just interesting because I always thought there was a part of me that always thought that, okay, I know that my family, the whole lineage is from Ukraine and from kind of that eastern part of the Europe. But I always, for whatever reason, I always felt that I have some French in me. I don't know why. I just thought that I have more Western Europe in there somewhere. So I took the DNA test, fully thinking that it's going to show like 20% French, and I'm going to go to my parents and say, hey, we need to have some discussions here. I need to figure out what's going on. So no, I had no French, but I did have 1% Irish, and I had, I think, 2% Finnish. So that's where that comes from.
That's interesting. How much did you pay for that? Was that $90 or something?
I think so. Yeah, it was. I think they had a sale, so it was 79. And I did the DNA test. You spit in the tube, you send it off, and they send it back to you. So it was interesting and fascinating. And my wife did that as well. And then now my kids want to do it. We're like, I don't know what you're trying to get, because we already have. Your mom and your dad took it. We know what we are. We know where we're from. What are you expecting to see that's different?
Are you afraid that now, like, the government owns your DNA, and like if you
I'm
commit a
not.
crime, if you
I
leave,
honestly,
it's
I'm
done.
not.
Find you.
Yeah, I'm one of those people that I understand that right now everything is so accessible. If the
Yeah.
government wanted to know something about me, or somebody on the internet wanted to know something about me, it's not that difficult to find. And, I'm not that important. I don't think it's that deep.
Yeah, at this point, you're right. If they want you, they'll get you.
I've watched enough spy films to know that if anybody needs to be eliminated, anybody can be eliminated. So, I can't spend my life worrying about, what the government has on me. I try to be a little bit more careful, because if I have a strong opinion about something, I don't necessarily put it out there. My friend put it so beautifully, and I hate it, but he's right that in order for us, we live in a free society, but we can only be free in a private Facebook group. So it's pathetic, and it's true, unfortunately. So I don't put all of that stuff out, because I know if I did, then it's going to be a whole family thing and a whole fight with people saying, why are you saying this? And I'm going to waste so much time defending it. It's not worth it. So I don't do that. But other than that, I'm not worried about somebody knowing my DNA. They probably have it already, and
Yeah,
who cares? I don't care.
true. Like that time you threw out that iced coffee, they got it, and
Yeah,
then went into the garbage and took your iced coffee out. They
right.
got you already. Did you do like the the cancer genes and all that? Like if you're
Ah,
like position
yeah,
for some kind of illness,
I didn't do that one. There is another one.
is it on there?
Not this one, not in the test that I took. There's another test that I took that kind of takes your DNA results, and then they check for, what diet you should do, what type of exercises you should be doing. I took that one, and I looked at it, and they're charging you for creating a fitness program for you, and I already know what I need to be doing. I don't need to pay for it. And in terms of the food and other stuff, because I thought, hey, maybe it will identify that I have certain tendencies or certain deficiencies, and I need to be eating more of this and that. But I don't know if I really bought what they were saying. So
Really?
that one I'm not sure that I would recommend to anybody.
I know when I eat a lot of sugar, I feel like shit. You know,
Yeah,
sugar is just like I don't even really like that much, but I do crave ice cream. I love ice cream, man. So
it's it's my favorite thing when kids ask me what would you eat if you had a choice, it would always be ice cream.
ice cream, any flavor.
What's your favorite flavor?
I like pistachio a lot, but I'm getting it. Right now I'm trying to like cut sugar out, so I'm eating this keto ice cream.
Okay.
It's like so this one called Halo. I just got it today. It's like keto, 5 grams of carbs, and it's got like it's chocolate. No, it's peanut butter cup flavor.
Okay.
I don't know. I wonder if it's gonna taste any good. There's other keto ice cream I had. I forgot what it was. It was kind of like the consistency was. It was like breaking chunks of like dirt. It wasn't creamy, and you couldn't scoop it with an ice cream scooper. So I'm wondering if this one has that same consistency. So I like to scoop it and pop it down and put some peanuts in it and some peanut butter and mix it up, and you're eating like this peanut butter ice cream with chunks of peanuts, and it's like you're making your own like Ben and Jerry's. So
Yeah.
that's what I wanted to do, but I couldn't do that with the other ice cream because it was just didn't have that consistency. But
Yeah.
I love ice cream. Do you love
Butter,
ice
butter,
cream? What flavor?
butter pecan for me, by the way.
Butter pecan? Yeah,
Yeah,
just ask butter pecan. I like butter pecan. That's good. What about the what's that? Dolce Vita? Is that the one? The
I like it. Yeah.
with the pralines in it, that caramel
Yeah.
coated
Yeah.
pecan, right?
I
So
like
good.
it.
What about gelato? Like you have gelato?
I love gelato. When I went to Italy, the cool part of being in Italy, we were there, as a family for I think 5 days or whatever.
So
We went to Italy, and then right after that we went to Spain, and I'm thinking, wait a second, there's something very different. There's something that is missing. I can't put my finger on it. It took me a few minutes to realize that they don't have gelato on every corner. And I missed it because I was so used to walking around Italy just eating gelato. That was my perfect experience. I could just go anywhere, get great gelato. I loved it.
which flavor?
Huh?
Which flavor did you like?
Flavor? I like pistachio. I kind of like mixing things. So I'm not a fan of coffee, so I don't like kind of.
Oh, I love the coffee ice cream. You don't
It's not my taste, right? It's one of those things that I'm not a fan of. But I like different fruits, and I like pistachio, and I like kind of mixing them together. I love limon, anything that's kind of this. I want the tangy flavor mixed with something that's different and kind of bring it together. I'm the Ratatouille character where I want all of these things to work in a perfect symphony. So that's kind of me picking gelato.
That's great. I like that. I'm gonna try that. Yeah.
You should. I always add lemon. So like lemon to me, it's such an
Hey, you
interesting.
mean
Huh?
sorbet you're talking about now? Or
Yeah, yeah. Or it could be again more of the lemon flavored ice cream, but usually it's sorbet.
yeah.
So and you have the limon gelato. So I kind of mix that, and you have the sweetness with the
The lemon, the limon
limon.
gelato.
Yeah, limon gelato.
Is that
So
limoncello? Or is it just like, is it made with limoncello?
maybe, or it's made again with real lemon, or whether they're doing drops and it's some other consistency, but it's it tastes like lemon.
Yeah,
And
Italy, Rome. I love the gelato. I would have this like 3 times a day. I would have the gelato and then espresso with sambuca. Then I would have more gelato and double sambuca with
yeah.
double double sambuca and a double espresso. I just love that stuff. Just the combination of the two is just so good.
And did you try the pizza when you were in Rome? That blew my mind because again, I'm Chicago. I know what our pizza tastes like. Their pizza is very different.
I like the deep dish. I've had the deep dish pizza in Chicago. It's not my thing, but I enjoyed it. I couldn't finish it.
No, yeah, you don't finish that. It's
I like
there's
the Italian thin crust pizza, but I'm gonna say something that's a little, controversial. I do prefer the New York
Mhm.
99-cent slice of pizza.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
I don't know why. I think it's the best pizza, man. It's people like think I'm crazy, but like I love that 99. I'm getting this delicious combination of cheese and tomato sauce and pizza dough for 99 cents. Tastes so much better than a $6 slice to me. I don't know.
yeah, I don't think it's controversial. It's what your taste is like. In Italy with pizza, the thing that blew my mind is all the ingredients that you don't get anywhere here. We went by the Vatican, and we go to a pizza place that's right outside the Vatican, and I start looking at the list of ingredients, and my mind blows because I can have shrimp on my pizza. So I had shrimp, potato, and something else pizza, and I loved it. It was great.
Oh,
So that's the part I miss about Italian pizza.
you had shrimp
I
and
had shrimp.
well, you could eat anything in Italy because it's all organic.
Yeah.
I ate so much and I lost weight. Both times I went to Italy. I went to Venice last year. I ate whatever I wanted when I was in. I even had Indian food in Italy. Have you ever had Mediterranean food or in well, not Mediterranean, I'm sorry. Indian food in Italy?
Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah.
I also had Chinese food in Italy. It's really
Yeah.
good. It's like it's better than New York. I don't know what it is. I think it's because they don't use MSG. You know,
Probably. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, they rename these things. Like, do you use MSG? No, we don't use MSG. I get the chop suey or like General Tso's chicken, and I'm eating it, and I'm like, this tastes so good. It's got to have MSG. And I have an allergic reaction to it. I get a violent migraine headache.
Sorry.
And I feel it right away. And like 20 minutes after eating it, I feel the symptoms. I'm like, they're using MSG, and they say they don't use MSG. They're using the same shit. They rename it.
Yeah.
It's like a different name.
Yeah.
So I try not to eat Chinese food from, New York City because of that reason. Come on, man.
Yeah, that's not nice. That's not nice. I love Chinese food. It's again, I'm a Russian kid who grew up in Ukraine. I was 14 when I came to the United States, so I never had Chinese food. It wasn't a thing. And then you have all of that, and then I became friends with some Indian guys who I was working with. They introduced me to Indian food, so my palate really kind of widened and opened up. So all of that is I'm friends with all of that. My friends and I go to Thai places. I'm not an adventurous eater. I'm not going to eat, go to a German restaurant and eat monkey brain. But anything that tastes good, I'm all over it. I don't care where it was made. Let's do it.
Yeah, don't tell me what it is. Just if it's good and it's tasty, just feed it to me.
Yeah,
I want to know what it is. I'm sorry, that's a lie. I do want to know what it is. I want to know if it's fucking monkey brains. I'm not gonna eat it. It's monkey.
Yeah, I'm not gonna eat a snake. I'm not gonna eat any. I'm not into eating crickets. That's not my thing.
But if you
But
were stranded on an island and you had to have one source of protein from an animal, and you had to choose from these two, you had to
it's
choose snake or spiders, big fat juicy spiders, like big ones. You had to choose.
my brain immediately goes into whatever I've seen before, and I remember people talking about that spiders would probably be more nutritious than a snake. Uh,
Really? No way.
I don't know. It's for some reason that's what I'm thinking because I remember, there are a lot of people out there that eat insects,
Yeah.
and that they're talking about the value of it. So that's where my brain immediately went. So out of the two things that I would be scared shitless of trying to get, but if it comes to my survival, and you didn't give me the option of getting fish, which was be my first guess, but if I had just those two things, then I would probably go for spider, and
Yeah.
I would probably throw up a few times before I even tasted it.
I mean, think about it. Like a spider and a crab, they kind of look the same.
They do. That's true.
I mean, I saw Castaway recently, and I thought it was a great movie, and I love the part where he tries to eat the crab raw because he didn't then fire it, and it's just this gooey snot that just like comes out of the leg.
Yep.
I wonder if that's true, but I guess that's the way I see a spider. You got to cook that thing, man. I mean, snake too. Snake, I would choose a snake just because I feel like it's more meat. I feel like I could skin it and then I could like make boots or, make some kind of like, clothing with its skin and then like take it and cut it up like sausage and pretend it and cook the shit out of it and pretend it's like a sausage, like, get like like one of those long leaves and
Yep.
stick it in there and eat it like, like an In-N-Out like burger without the bun,
Yep.
that this a hot dog.
It makes sense. And again, Crocodile Dundee comes to mind. It's it ain't bad. It's good eating. So yeah, I maybe, but I just think hunting after a spider would be easier for me and probably less scary than hunting after a snake.
I agree with you on that. I think the spiders will be a much easier
Yeah.
catch than a snake.
But yeah, I definitely go for fish. If I'm on an island, that means I'm surrounded by water. There's got to be fish. That's the first place I'd look.
Yeah, clams. Dig up some clams, cook them.
Yeah, very cool.
Very useful for acting.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that movie. By the way, in terms of the Castaway, the first time I was watching it, you instinctively are wondering, okay, at some point there has to be something dangerous. There has to be a shark. There has to be whatever, because we're so trained that if you're alone on an island, some pirates are going to come over. Whatever it is, it's the thing that you're expecting, And there you didn't get, because that's not what it was about. It was about a human experience. And I was so happy and I was so impressed, not just with the acting and the storyline and everything that happened, but I was just so impressed that they didn't go cheap and they didn't throw this stuff at you. And it just focused on Tom. I loved it.
Yeah, it was definitely a great, you know, I really liked the ending too. You know,
Mhm.
it's a really good movie. I watched it twice in a month because it was playing on HBO. I watched it. I really liked it a lot. Appreciated it. Tom Hanks
Very.
did a good job. I mean, losing and gaining the weight too, but like, you know, he just like has a way about him that's just so watchable. You know,
Yeah. And it actually brings us or segues us into something else I was going to ask you, because one of the things that you taught Austin, and I can look up the specific project that he was referring to, but he was saying that you did a play, and in that play you had very few lines, if any at all, and you stole the show. And he learned by watching you that doesn't matter how many lines you have, it matters what you do with them, and that you can do a tremendous amount with very few lines. And Tom was doing the same thing. There was a lot of him not talking. It was just him being. So what do you do as an actor if you have few lines to say, or you have one line to say, or a few words? How do you put a whole life of a character into those lines?
what was the show?
All right, I'm going to look that up. Hang on one second.
Answer it by just saying what I did in the show, but like I can answer it in general. But,
It was the man with a flower in his mouth.
oh, the Pirandello. Yeah, yeah. Oh wow, that was a tough piece. Damn, that was a tough piece. But the reason why it was tough was because it was so simple.
Hmm.
It was such a simple situation. But anyway, yeah, he had this. Yeah, Joe McCarthy was the character's name. Joe B. McCarthy.
Okay.
Um, he was the other actor, and really great actor. And he was playing the I forgot the characters' names, but the man with the flower in his mouth. And I played the guy that was sitting there waiting for the train. And like, you know, the situation was this guy's trapped to listen to this guy yap and yap and yap. Um, no, it's but that play was about what would I be doing if this guy never showed up.
Mhm.
You know, it's like it's all about behavior. If you don't have any lines, you still have to behave according to the situation. You know, like what you would do in that situation. So I don't remember what I chose to do. I was waiting for the train at the table, and I was I did something different every night. I had an apple. I set up the things I would use. And I remember I had an apple, and that got stricken. But I remember what I really liked about that apple was that I remember it was interesting. It wasn't planned this way. I was drawing, and it was a rehearsal, and he wasn't coming in right away. And I was drawing for quite some time before Joe, the actor, came up and approached me, and I'm like drawing, and I drew this whole face, and I wanted to take a break. So I'm like, in my mind, I'm thinking, what the fuck is he doing? But I'm like, it doesn't matter because I want this apple right now. And right before I was about to bite it, he interrupts me, and I bit it. And he starts talking, and I just remember, like, I don't want to be rude, but I had the apple, and realized that I'm chewing, but I'm not chewing like the way I would be chewing if someone wasn't talking to me, because didn't want to be rude. So that was an interesting discovery. It just never really worked out. I don't know, for whatever reason. I liked the apple, but I don't know if Joe remembers that. But the apple was a lot of fun. We kept it for a while, and then Joe decided to do it for his thesis project. And I think that's when they didn't want the apple, because they felt like, when you go to school, you have people that say, oh, the apple upstages. And it's like, yeah, I understand. You don't want to chew on a crunch on an apple when he's talking about the most important part, like he's talking about cancer or something. I'm biting into the apple. I wasn't doing that. Some people get carried away with branding things they learn in acting class, where they're like, you're upstaging me with the apple. It's like, you're not talking. I'm eating the apple. It was a process. But yeah, it's about like, I would just ask, the first thing I do is I ask myself, what would I be doing in this situation? And then you back up, you start asking all these questions. Before you know it, I'm asking questions from like, what was I doing 3 days before the moment takes place? And then you do it another night and you go further back, and then it feeds it even more. Like, you go by the end of the show, what my preparation for it was, and I do this with everything. So at this point, it was like a month before the scene took place. I did something that I was able to bring to the actual scene that would fill me up emotionally. And it just because I thought of it, just because I didn't like act it out. I was just sit and meditate on, well, I did this, and I'll write stuff down. And sometimes I'll talk to the imaginary person. I'm like, yeah, that's what happened. So when Joe's character said this one thing, I was able to relate to it. And it was different that night than it was the other night. So that like influenced all of my behavior. So just because I didn't have lines, I was relating to it, and I'm listening to him fresh. I wasn't like, I was accused at one point earlier on in the process that I was acting like I was listening. Like I wasn't interested, but I'm like, well, we do that in real life, and we don't want to like you right now, like you're listening to me, you're like, shut the fuck up, but yeah, you're pretending you're listening. I know, I'm just making
Yeah, I get you.
like, so we listen to people when we don't want to. Sometimes our face betray us. Like, yeah, that was a bad acting job there, but you get the picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. So, that was on stage.
Yeah.
How about on screen, where you're doing take after take, and then you have different coverage, and how do you stay in that moment and allow things to be fresh take after take?
You keep doing that. Just what I said, just on a shorter form. The scene, you hit moments there, you go back, you throw it away, and you prepare as if you're about to do it again, as if you haven't done it before. So I'll start my preparation a little, I'll start it again, I'll start further back, and then then this happened, and here, and now I start like, you already got your instrument going. So the second take you do it, and then you wrap it up. Sometimes you don't get a chance to go back to your first position. He might want you to stop. You pick it up again. Might just shift your body this way. Go, and like, so then you just gotta like, you have to plunge. You have to fall into it, or throw yourself into it. You just don't think. If I start thinking about it, you're done. Like, you just have to like, just go in it. You got the person right in front of you, man. Just work with what they're giving you. That's what I do. I don't know. It works for me.
I completely agree with you. Until I learned about Meisner, and I still until I took some classes and I started doing that, I was all in my head. As soon as I started doing Meisner, I got out of my head and I'm just into the person's eyes. And then it's easy, because all you're doing is you're there, and it's what you like, which is the kind of the natural approach of how do you be natural. Well, you're natural because we know how to talk to each other. Now you're just a character, but everything that's happening is between you and I. And by watching you, by watching how you react to it, I react to it. And I react to it on the physical and emotional and other levels. And you can just be. It becomes so much easier. And that was my kind of click.
I like the times where I'll catch myself. I don't know if this happened with you, but I'll catch myself doing too much, and so I'll pull back. I'll do that at an audition, and then I finish the scene, and I'm like, oh, that sucked. and I'll watch it, and I'm like, you know, it looks natural. It was like this weird thing that happened, but it's interesting. And because it's like, you know, do you ever watch a musician play? Like, there's this great tape of Jimi Hendrix playing at the what's that place? The I forget where he was playing, but he was playing with the Band of Gypsies. It was 1972, I think it was. Yeah, it was the big one, live at the Fillmore, I think it was. And it was like on New Year's Eve, right? And the opening song, he did it throughout the whole concert. There's videotapes of him. He always does it. And I just refer to him because the opening of the show, he's singing this song, "Who Knows," and he starts playing, and he starts playing, and he starts tuning his guitar, and he doesn't stop tuning. I didn't hear it out of tune, you know, but he did. So he's fixing it. So I look at that as a musical parallel to an actor knowing when they're doing too much or when their tone is off, when they're out of tune and not listening or they're not to be like, it's okay to like have that part of your brain working because you need to, and you feel it, like you'll feel like you're a little off. And so you refocus and you resettle and but you never stop. You're still playing. You don't start over. You don't say, "Oh fuck, stop, we gotta start over, my guitar's out of tune." No one's gonna do that. Like BB King will break a fucking string and the band will keep going and he'll sing and restring his guitar. It's like that's what actors have to do, right? So
Yeah.
it's interesting because I bring that up as a non sequitur, but like you made me think of something that, you know, what happens, like it's like you're so playing the moment that you don't know what's going to happen yet, but you did all of that work on the scene and on the character with yourself in regards to everything that's happening in the story, that you just kind of forget it and it's in you. It's like, I think Strasberg used to say, is like, you got to start here.
Yeah.
You have to start with your brain, and then you have to push it into your being and forget about it. And so you can follow your impulses, but it's the right impulses. It's the impulses of the character. You as the character in the situation. So that's where you want to get. And sometimes they don't have the time to do that, but you know, it just really ultimately is the moment that you're playing with it, you know, and trust yourself and have fun. And like, you know, I don't know, I'm hard on myself. So
Yeah.
say that like is a big thing for me, you know.
Same way, and I think all of us are. But you know, I just did a webisode. It's my first acting gig, you know, during this COVID time.
Nice.
A wonderful independent filmmaker, you know, kind of wrote a part for me, and I did this webisode, and I come in there, and I got done talking to Austin, you know, a day or 2 days before, and we talked about some of the approaches, and Austin gives me the rule of 5 of you want to try it soft, you want to try it loud, you want to try it physical, you want to try it, you know, 2 others approaches that'll come into me in a moment. So I go through all of that, and I discovered so many different ways of doing that kind of, you know, monologue, and I'm ready. I get to the set. We do a take, and I'm actually 2 characters that I have to play. I'm playing this happy-go-lucky kind of, you know, goofy guy, and then he snaps in and he's completely different. And then I get out of that character, and then I'm back into this one. So you can't be in character because you're 2 different characters. So I have to kind of straddle all of that. And I get there and I'm playing. I'm like, okay, great. So I like this take. I would love to do another take. I'm thinking I would love to do another take where, you know, I'm more kind of soft and I build up to it. And they're like, no, that's great. We love it. Let's do another shot. Let's do it the same way. And they're done. And I'm thinking, but I have so many different ways prepared. I wanted to play. I wanted to try it. I want, you know, to see what works better. I never got the opportunity. And then I hear from the director, not the director, but the producer, the writer. He says, hey, you know, you did an amazing job. You're probably one of the best actors I've worked with. I'm like, oh my God, that's a huge compliment. I appreciate that. I don't know if I agree with it. And then this juxtaposition of I never got a chance to do multiple takes and I wanted to play with it so I can be happy, but he's already happy. So I don't know what is going on. It's one of those things, like you're completely hard on yourself. You don't know whether you did a great job or not. It felt pretty good, but I want to play more. It was one of those.
Yeah, I mean, you always want to play more. I always want another take. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I have enough,
Yeah.
but yeah, we always want, like, that's the thing about rehearsing, you get to rehearse and try these things in rehearsal. But, from my experience, my limited experience that I've had in film and television is, uh, I haven't had an opportunity where we actually rehearsed, you know, it's like the audition sort of sometimes is the rehearsal.
Yeah.
But like there is no trial and error. It's like you're shooting your first rehearsal, but the rehearsal, you know, again, like, I trained on stage. So when I go to rehearsal, it's like, I'm 100%. When I go to a rehearsal, I go there to roll at 100%. So because I'm happy that I worked in that way. We all, like, the training I had, we all worked that way. So for me, it works okay on film. But I know some people like to, not rehearse on 100, and they want to, like, stand back a little bit. And there's a little bit of that too, because sometimes if you don't understand something, it's kind of hard to go 100% because you're confused. It's like, I don't know what it is I'm supposed to be doing. I can't relate to this scene. I don't understand what's going on, and you talk about it, and, well, let's try it. That doesn't work. Let's come back and we'll try it again tomorrow. It's like when you find that situation in a film, it's like, it's scary. It's like, oh my god. And there was this one thing I did. This movie, they had a phone there, and my character comes in, and he's stakes are high. He needs to use the phone, and this phone's there. So I picked it up and I started using it. So threw the whole scene out the window, because it's supposed to be, this scene is written where I go to the concierge. I'm like, I need to use the phone. And I'm like, and the like, no, you have to have that conversation with the concierge, but we can if you, well, they're like, yeah, but the phone's there. Well, it makes no sense to me to go, I have to use the phone. I'm just going to take it and use it, you know? And so there was a little discussion with that. And then we removed the phone, and it made sense because a scene prior to it, it would make sense that they removed the phone. But there's those moments. And sometimes it's like, if you're a new actor, your instinct would say, I would just grab the phone, but you don't want to ruffle feathers. So no one else catches it, and you do it. I need the phone, and we're watching the movie now, and it's like, take the fucking phone in. What's the matter with you? And, like, as an actor, you're like, oh fuck, or anyone watching is like, that wasn't a smart choice. Why didn't they catch that? Like, obviously, they could have done something there to make the logical sense is that he wouldn't fight with somebody over something that didn't need to be fought over. You got to be aware of those little things, because, like, in theater, you can catch it early on and fix it, but everything's happening with film. You have to kind of, like, slow time down and see everything, be aware of everything, yet at the same time be focused in this other way. It's like a mental multitask, but you got to do it. You have to. Everything is, like, everything is part of the world. Like, I'm looking at the ocean, but it's actually a picture. You know, you look at the picture. You don't pretend it's an ocean. You just really look at the picture. You're like, wow, that's a beautiful fucking frame. They don't know I'm looking at the fucking picture. They think I'm looking at an ocean.
Yeah. As long as they see that behind your eyes you have thought and you're somewhere, then they relate to it, because they are going to imagine that that's what you're looking at. They're
Yeah, I
gonna
don't know, maybe everybody's different. I'm just talking about the way I work, but if you could be different, maybe you can like see the ocean and you see
I
the ocean, you know.
don't know. I haven't had that experience, so we'll see what happens. But
Yeah,
um,
that works for you. There's no like, there's no blueprint of how anyone should work.
right. Hey, I already said to people that I hear voices or I heard voices, so it wouldn't be a stretch for people to think that I can see the ocean. So why not?
Exactly. Totally.
So you mentioned in one of your interviews that on Stars Born, when you were working with Bradley,
Mhm.
you were doing a scene and something wasn't quite clicking. So you went and you kind of talked it out and you came up with a solution and you did it. So again, it's the giving yourself permission. I know you already have a relationship with Bradley because you went to school together, but giving yourself permission as an actor to bring things out and say, hey, this doesn't quite make sense. Can we do this? I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was fortunate to be working with an actor, who Bradley was also an actor, and I'm fortunate that yes, I do know him. But if I didn't know Bradley, he still would have had that openness to go up to the stranger who's playing a role and say, "Is this working for you?" And he would have still done it. So if you're like I was in a fortunate situation where the scene as written wasn't as uh, effective as what we came up with. Is it takes you're lucky to have a director like that. I mean, you would be very lucky to have a director like that who is going to be not only intuitive enough to locate and understand what's not working and tweak it and fix it and be cool and chill and collaborative about it and actually not pressuring and screaming at you. I mean, you can scream at me all day if you're my director. It's not going to mess me up. I mean, I'm going to want to punch you in the face, but I'm not going to let it break me. I'm going to still do my work. But
Yep.
it's something special when a there's if of course every scene is different. If the tensions are high in the scene and the director's touches to yell and scream, it's going to make everybody tense. And that could be a good thing if you can do your work, but it could shut people down. So it really can. So to have a director who's like, he's concerned and loves his actors, not that the other director doesn't love his actors, but, you
Yeah.
know, it's the risk of shutting a person down doesn't exist. You're only going to water the soil, you know. So in that case, the way Bradley was, he was like, he was encouraging the let's get to this, let's fix this with a level of confidence and a level of relaxation. So we were able to we got it, it's fresh, shoot it, we did it. I think we did it once, maybe we
Well,
did it twice. I think what you saw the was the one time was the one take. I think it was one take. I'm not sure. One or two.
that's great.
Yeah, it was a great experience, and that was the most nervous I ever was.
Really?
Yeah, I was like so nervous during that shoot. I don't know. It didn't. I don't think it affected my work at all. But
Hmm.
for some reason, I was nervous because I guess I wanted to like really deliver and do a good job. I put a lot of pressure on myself to like make a meal out of it and like bring something rich to it. And it just wasn't able, I didn't want to push it. I didn't want to make it fake. So it just, when it wasn't clicking, I was like getting like, oh man. But when we came up with that, I felt so relaxed afterwards and I was happy about that. So it was a good
That's
experience.
great.
Great
All right.
learning.
Sorry for interrupting. I was just going to say that that's again a sign of a great director, a sign of somebody who is not worried about egos. He's just he wants to make sure that what gets done is the best for the picture.
Well, yeah, I mean, every director's got a different touch, I mean, look at Stanley Kubrick. The way, like, it's famous how he was with Shelley Duvall. I mean, I watched footage of it. There's this behind the scene footage. His wife shot documentary footage of all his movies, and I saw some of it for The Shining, and he was harsh on her.
Yeah.
But maybe that's what got her. I mean, I always feel you don't need to do that. I don't think you need to like ride an actress or an actor like that to the point where you're just the cooking, like frying their insides up.
Yeah.
I mean, but if a director does do that to you, I feel like it'll be a great thing to experience if you can get through it. If you can get through it and not let it affect your work and let it feed your work, if you let it feed your work, then you find a way to do that, then you're just going to be a better actor at the end of it.
Yeah. I'm going to use kind of your analogy that you were using with fears as the wild stallions is being able to take all of that. And I view that again as energy. So being able to take all of those energies, being able to use them, ride them. So, the director screaming at you.
Wild Mustang.
Wild Mustangs. Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to write that down. Wild Mustangs.
It is, because it's any emotion you have is a gift.
Yeah.
So, we're told to shut down our emotions and to muster up and summon another emotion, but then it would be faking it. So
Right.
if you have like the fear is so alive in you, like just keep it there, accept it, and just ride it, man. Like use it, and not even if you're not gonna use it in a sense where you're gonna tremble in fear. It's like just have it exist in you, and whatever it is that you can do to like make it work for you. I mean, it's hard to do. I fail at that all the time. But even when you fail at using the emotion you have,
Yeah.
even when you fail and you feel like a failure and you're angry at yourself, if you're still using that and staying connected with who you're working with and moving forward and not letting it shut you down, it could look for everyone else, it could look amazing. You don't know what it looks like sometimes. That's by like watching your self tapes. There's so many times I stopped myself and restarted, and I'm watching the takes, and I'm like, oh, this is a really good one. And then I stopped myself. I'm like, I'm so stupid. I'll never stop myself again.
Yeah. That's true, because we don't know we don't know what it looks like on the other side of the camera.
So if you're so in the moment dealing with all those emotions and you're still doing the scene, it's like you're still connected to the person. How is it? It's only gold, or maybe it's shit.
Right.
It could be shit too.
But it's worth not stopping the take to see what happens.
No, man. Even when another actor is like going off script and the camera's rolling and the actor is fucking with you, the actor, and it's so obvious, but you don't break character and you still talk to them as if they're character.
Yeah.
To me, that's a victory. That's a victory. Just never break.
Yeah, keep going. It's not our job to say cut. Yeah, absolutely. Well, it is my job to say cut to this interview just because I'm looking at the time and I've taken a lot of your time already. But I am really thankful to you for coming on, for sharing, for being so open and giving me a lot to work with. From Austin, I learned the 5 technique. From you, I'm taking the wild stallion, wild Mustangs, wild Mustangs, wild Mustangs. Good, I got it now. So wild Mustangs, and I'm gonna keep on writing them and
Riding them like a Comanche.
writing like a Comanche.
The Comanche natives were they were the best horsemen in the history of horsemen. The only reason why they reigned for so long as the dominant native tribe. We can't use tribe anymore. What's the word that we use? It's
Nation.
nation, right? The Comanche Nation was so dominant because of the way they were able to maneuver on this super fast horse, Mustang, which had short legs. They were like a short. They're like a short leg. There's this movie I want to watch. It's called Mustang. I want to see that. Did you see it?
I don't think so. When did it come out?
Like 2 years ago.
I have not seen it. No, I'll check it out. Cool. Well, listen, thank you again. I feel that I am a much better actor just by speaking with you. Now I look forward to going out and doing that again once I have the opportunity. I hope people who are watching this feel the same. And whatever your fears are, you just put them in the comments and let's try to turn them into your Mustangs that you can ride.
That's great. I love it. Yeah, cool.
Why not? Thank you again for coming on, Gabe. Thanks to everybody for tuning in. And we know you love acting as much as we do, and that's why we do this. Thank you.
Thank you.